I'm Kelly Taylor, and welcome to Canada Talks Archery. We're here to talk about anything and everything as it applies to archery, from compound and recurve to target and hunting. Canada Talks Archery is proud to have PSE Archery as its presenting sponsor. For quality bows for every application, when you want precision shooting equipment, trust PSE Archery. Check out PSE's latest bow, the Shoot Down Pro. Contact your local authorized retailer or visit psearchery.com. Today, we're proud to have with us Aaron Bull, president of Archery Canada, and PSC staff shooter Dean Thornton, joining us from Calgary. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Dean, Kelly, thank you very much. Happy to be here.
All right, thank you for joining us. And Aaron, why don't you give us a quick rundown on what the rule changes are for 3D archery in the upcoming season?
Yeah, so we've adjusted our format for our nationals after the feedback that we've had over the last event that was in PEI there last summer. So after that event, as you know, it was a new format for us as Archery Canada. And what we heard from the community is that, they wanted more targets, they wanted more shots. So we've went to 60 targets. So there's going to be 60 targets, 3 rounds of 20 this year. And then another big thing we heard from the feedback after PEI was that they wanted their scores to carry with them into the finals. So we're still keeping a finals. We're still going to have, that be live streamed out. But this year, you're going to carry your total after the first 60 targets into that finals. One thing we did introduce is that if you shoot an inside out on the 11 ring, that's actually going to be a 14. So kind of similar like to the ASA has their 14 ring to, make it a little bit more competitive. We've introduced that inside out 11 ring. So that means if you're inside the 11 ring, not touching the outside at all, you would score 14 points on that shot. So, it's still going to make, people be able to move up a little bit in the standings and put the pressure on the guy who's in the lead to, keep shooting those 11s.
Okay, I was going to say it's so the scoring is going to be a little bit like ASA now, where you finish with your qualifying score. Let's say it's a 432. And then your scores from the shoot down get added to that for the final result. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So that total is going to carry with you right through the weekend. So, you shoot a 5 on the first round, that 5 is still going to impact your score. Your score is it's never gonna reset. And just similar to ASA, and they have that 14 ring in the finals. This 14 ring is only going to be in the finals. So for your 3 qualification rounds, that 14 ring is not in play. The 11 is what you would score there, just as a normal 3D round.
And do you have to call it the way you do in an ASA tournament?
No, so there's no calling of the 11s. It's similar that way. So there's, you're not going to be calling an upper or lower or anything like that. Nope. If you shoot that 11, you're going to get those bonus points there added to your score.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And then there's also going to be a new mixed team event coming in.
Yeah, so that's another thing that, we've decided to add this year. Team events are part of, a lot of different types of championships now, whether those be target or field or 3D at the world's level. So just to give people the opportunity to shoot a team event to add something else, as well as this team event is going to have cash prizes attached to it. So this year we're just testing it out, seeing how it goes over. And yeah, again, it's just, something that, we've heard people ask for. They've, really liked the Fred Usher Cup, or what was the Fred Usher Cup in the Target event. And, this is just something to try and add some interprovincial rivalry and just something new for our 3D archers.
Well, anything that can add interest to an event is going to be a positive thing. And I don't think anyone's ever left an archery event going, gee, I wish I could have shot fewer arrows, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if team event is optional, we hope people, sign up for it. And, we have a number of different categories. So there's under 21 category. There is a known distance category. There is a traditional category. and then a unknown distance category. So we've kind of put all the different disciplines into 4 broad categories. So everyone will have, a chance to compete in it. And it's a mixed team event. So it's teams of men and women.
Okay. And let's just go back to the impetus for this, because you mentioned that there was some surveys done from the previous 3D championship. So you're actually responding to what people have requested, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Kelly. So, we made the big change and we went ahead to change the format for PEI. That decision was made by the 3D committee prior to COVID even. So that was back in 2019 when that format change was made, but we never got to test it out until 2022. And that format was probably a little bit more closer to what you'd see at a Worlds event. But yeah, we listened to the feedback, and this event is for the community, and we want to obviously prepare our archers for higher levels of competition and be able to to offer them an event at the same time that they are excited for and that they want to come out to. And so that's really what we tried to do here. Is the big things that we heard back was more arrows, and we want to be able to carry our scores through, not have them reset. So those are 2 changes that we've made, is more arrows and your score is not going to reset.
Okay. How much of an impact is the partnership between Archery Canada and ASA Archery having on the 3D game in Canada?
Well, we're really seeing it evolve. So initially when Archery Canada and ASA, started talking and, were able to come up with this partnership, it was really us acknowledging how ASA is growing in the US and how it would be in our best interest to, team up with them and try to be able to offer that same ASA brand in Canada. So it's we're really excited about it, and it's unfortunate we really haven't been able to capitalize on it until the last season with going through COVID. But you've seen what Alberta's done, and I know Dean's been part of that there with their ASA tour, and we're seeing other ASA events across the country. And I think that's somewhere where we really recognize there's opportunity for growth. From the feedback we get, archers want to see more ASA events. Another thing that we hear is that archers want to be able to compete for cash prizes and to attach that to events. And I think the ASA gives us, a great opportunity to be able to, have a legitimate format that we can then, attract sponsors, attract hopefully, contingency money at some point. These are all, goals that we have.
All right. So let's throw it over to Dean there and find out. Dean, how do you feel about these changes to the 3D Canadian Championship format?
Yeah, I like the changes. Mind you, I did enjoy the feeder scoring, but I think that that kind of only kind of apply to a few people that were like trying out for the team and stuff. You were kind of practicing for an event that only happens, once every 2 years. So going back to this, I'll say the old format, because basically what we're doing, we're still going to be IBO scoring, and only the 11 ring, like I say, on the shoot down will count as a 14 if you're inside out. Now, personally, I'm a risk or reward kind of shooter. What I would have liked to have seen is the 14 ring being burned into the target like an ASA target, where it's if you miss low, you're an 8, miss high, you're either an 8 or 5, as in ASA. But with the type of scoring that we're going to do at the nationals, it's not so much of a risk, because if you're shooting at the 11, it's still a solid 10 should you miss, or 11 if you hit it. I mean, yes, if you go inside out, and I think you'll see a lot of guys, especially the known category, I think you'll see a lot of those guys being able to, hit those 14s. Obviously, the unknown category, where you're guesstimating the yardage, I don't think you'll see it have an impact there. But like I say, I'm pretty sure you'll see an impact in the known distance. But like I say, personally, I'd love to see everything go to full ASA scoring. IBO is fun. I've enjoyed it. I've shot IBO for years. But this new challenge of, shooting upper or lower 12s and 14s in the shootouts, it's really changed the game, especially here in Alberta, because ever since we started with the ASA tour that we've had numerous new archers coming out and trying it. And I believe that's because known distances. I believe that the future of archery worldwide is known distance. Yes, there's still the IBO. There's still going to be, unknown categories and people like that. But we struggled at our ASA to have 6 shooters in open. I mean, obviously years ago that was unheard of. You would get 20 or 30 guys. Now we struggle to get 6, whereas, if you saw the Canadian indoors that we recently had in Calgary, the known categories were huge, and you're getting a lot of guys, a lot of hunters, they're coming out and, they feel confident to shoot because they're not, judging those distances. So like I said, I like the changes. I'm all for it. I would have liked to have seen the 14 ring placed, like an ASA target, but like I say, we're definitely going forward. I'm glad that we've got this new format, but in the future, I would love to see like full ASA scoring, at the tournaments, because like I say, it's been a huge success in Alberta. This past year, we had archers from Manitoba, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, all came to the events, and they're going to be coming to the events again this year. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this year for sure.
Okay, well, let's let Aaron address your point about the ASA targets. I'm wondering, Aaron, if part of the problem is having to adapt these new rules to a bunch of existing targets as opposed to going out and buying brand new ASA targets.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, I mean, to Dean's point, I think us at Archery Canada and us on the 3D committee, sorry, recognize that no one is the future. And as Dean mentioned in Calgary, there we've had more people that shoot than I've ever had come and say, we need known youth classes, we need known master classes. And that's definitely something that the 3D committee is going to be talking about here. Now, back to the point about these rule changes. Yeah, we hear you, Dean, and we hear the community in what you're saying. And, it may seem like, why didn't we just go to the 14? And one reason is what you said there, Kelly, is, to have an event host and they just don't have the ASA targets. The second is we thought it, could potentially be confusing if we're going from an IBO scoring style and then, just for the finals introducing an ASA target. And, then do we introduce the 12 rings? Do you have to call it? Do we just keep the, you know what I mean? There's all these other challenges that open. So, we just felt with simplicity, we would just, give a little bit of reward for shooting that inside out 11. To Dean's point, there's no risk. Yes. And, this is by no means, like we said last time, right? Like we're going to listen to feedback. And if, there's, lots of feedback, that an ASA event on its own is what we need for, I'm not saying that we'd replace our national championships with an ASA event, but, maybe there's room there to somehow incorporate a standalone ASA event.
Yeah, no, that would be great. And I, like I say, I enjoy IBO scoring. I enjoy that type of archery. And we could do the nationals with IBO scoring and bring in known classes. I'm not kind of wanting to stop shooting kind of IBO. I kind of enjoy some of that unmarked stuff quite a bit myself. But I think for the consensus people I've spoke to, it's just bringing in new people. Yeah. There's just not a lot of archers out there that really have the time to practice judging. We've seen this last year, we've seen so many new people, and they've all basically said, well, now that it's known, we can come with our friends and we're not walking around at the back of the target looking for arrows. We're just out here enjoying it. Whether they're shooting the hunter category or even as a guest, they're really enjoying it, because now there's, like I say, there's no pressure on guessing the distance of the target.
Well, and
I'm really looking forward to the nationals this year. I really am. Like I say, I would, like I said, I would have liked to have seen that risk or reward, where if you're going for that 14, and I totally understand with the clubs, with the targets, it's really difficult. Like we here in Alberta, we had to buy all new ASA targets, for this tour. And that's expensive for a club to do that. I understand that. And, but I hope, eventually, down the road, where other provinces see the success that we've had in Alberta. And I do know that there are other provinces that are actually starting like their own little tours. I just hope that they all see, and then of course, then the clubs then will maybe start to buy, ASA targets, and then, eventually, we could, down the road, hold an ASA national. I think that would be exciting for sure. And we'd still have, the unmarked category for archers if they want it. But I truly believe it's dying unmarked. We're even seeing target archers starting to come now and shoot 3D tournaments, because they like, well, let's take Paige Pierce. Let's take Paige. Paige never judged a target in her life, and as soon as they opened up that known 50 category for the women, and made it a pro event this year, now she's going to be at all the tournaments. You'll see a lot of target girls and guys, coming in and shooting 3D. So, eventually I'd like to see that here too.
Well, I think one of the biggest advantages to the known categories is, whether you're, whether you're a younger archer and losing an arrow becomes, quite disheartening, or if you're a more experienced archer and losing an arrow is a $40 hit, there's a lot of appeal to shooting a known category and being able to dial in the sight and know that at least you got, a reasonable chance of putting it into foam, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, Dean, what are your plans for this year? You mentioned before the broadcast that you're excited about what's coming up. You're heading to Reading. That's gonna be cool.
I leave early Saturday morning. I'm driving down there with an Alberta archer, Nathan Fleet. Him and I are going down. I'm going to probably get into Reading Sunday afternoon. I'm going to be staying with Paige and Tate for a few days, do some practicing out at Paige's parents' home, because we can shoot out to 100 yards there. The tournament unofficially starts on Thursday, where we shoot the pro-ham, where you do like a little warm-up there. You can shoot 10 targets on the lower part of the course, and then 10 targets on the top of the course. And then Friday morning, that's when the official tournament starts. So I'll be down there for probably 12 days. Hopefully the weather's good, because I need to get a tan after all this cold weather we've had here.
You look
as soon as I come back,
though.
I'll be switching everything over to my ASA kind of setup, because we have our first ASA tour shoot at the end of May at Medicine Hat. So I want to make sure that all my stuff's dialed in and that I'm ready to go and try and defend my title from last year. So yeah, that's how my season's looking.
When we were talking a little bit earlier, you mentioned Paige Pierce, and I asked her how she sets up for the Sasquatch, and she says she pulls her sight all the way into the riser, drops it all the way to the bottom of the bar, and then so she doesn't get fletching contact, she shoots a two fletch.
That's correct. Yes.
You're able to do it a little bit differently, aren't you? Tell us about that.
Yes. Yeah. With my, I'm shooting 60 pounds. And with the speed that I'm getting out of the bow, I get good clearance. I can drop my bar all the way down, my sight bar all the way down to 110 yards, and I don't get any contact whatsoever with the vanes on the scope whatsoever. But yeah, no, it's I remember the first time I saw Paige doing that, it actually made me laugh, and I thought, oh, there's no way two vanes are going to fly 100 yards, but that girl's mastered it, and she knows how to tune a bow. So yeah, no, it's pretty good. And for those people listening, if you've never been to Reading and shot the Trail Classic, you're actually missing out. It's probably the funnest archery tournament you'll ever do. Normally the weather's beautiful, a little too hot at times, but it's unbelievable. The organization, the course itself, the targets, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. You're doing yourself an injustice if you don't go down and try it at least once.
It's like the gold standard for outdoor archery, isn't it?
When you talk to a lot of guys and girls and you kind of ask them, hey, what's your favorite tournament? Most of them say Reading. They do. And I've shot several different Reading style tournaments. They have a tour in California called the Outlaw Tour. And Erin McGladry and myself went down a few years ago and shot down there. And that's where we actually shot in a category or in a group with Paige. And her and Erin became good friends. And we went down, and last year, Erin and I, with Paige and Tate and her dad, we shot Fresno, which was the week before Reading. It's like a Reading warm-up. We had a lot of fun there. And like I say, the safari-style shoots that they do on the West Coast are lots of fun. And it's all marked yardage, orange dots. And like I say, it's a lot of fun for sure.
Well, Aaron, we're going to have to get an event like that up here in Canada, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, sounds really interesting. I've never been to Reading myself. I'd love to go. It's on my bucket list for sure. You do see some of the East Coast guys will do some orange spot shoots, but don't see a lot out in the West. But yeah, it'd be definitely cool to just have a big kind of fun jamboree style shoot like that. It looks like it's a blast.
Well, it would certainly do a lot for attracting new people to archery, I'm sure. So, Aaron Bull, thank you for joining us on Canada Talks Archery. We'll slide back to Dean for a little bit because Dean's a staff shooter for our sponsor, PSC Archery, and he's had the good fortune to try out the latest bow, the Shootdown Pro. Dean, tell us about the Shootdown Pro.
Oh yeah, it's really nice. I first shot the bow when I was down in Vegas. That's where we did the big release of the bow. I got mine with the S2 cam. I've got it right now set at 29 inches, 60 pounds. I think my arrow weight is 3. I've been testing arrows all day, actually. I was shooting Super Drive 25s, 23s. I shot Super Drive 19s out of it. I've shot some hyper speeds out of it. Just looking and seeing what kind of grouping and stuff I'm getting in speed. So I think my best setup through this bow right now is my Super Drive 23s with 120 grains up front. And I'm really liking the S2 cam. It's the first time that I've shot this style of cam. I've got a Supra RTX with a EM cam, which goes to 28.5 inches. Now, I'm normally at 29 inches, just 29.25. But I decided on the EM specifically for tournaments like Reading, where you are kind of shooting angles. And I found that just a little bit shorter draw, I make cleaner releases at angles, at different angles. So today I experimented a little bit with a Shootdown Pro. I shot it at 29. I shot it at 28.5. I was doing a little bit of angles and I I actually liked it at 29. It shot really well. It holds really nice. The S2 cam draws slightly different to the EM cam that I'm used to. It's smooth, but it just loads up just at the end. And like I say, it holds well. It's solid. Very balanced bow. I really like shooting it. The grip is great. I like really narrow grips, and I wasn't really sure that I'd like this new grip, but it definitely works. I like it, so I'm going to leave the grip on, and yeah, just keep practicing with it. It's going to be my ASA bow for this year. My RTX I'm going to leave set up, with my red in spec, and I'll probably use that bow to shoot some field tournaments, because we're going to have some field tournaments here. There's one big one in Saskatchewan that I might go to. So yeah, I'll have both setups. But like I say, that new Shoot Down Pro, I'm really liking it. One of our other pro staff shooters here in Alberta, Cameron Herbert, he's got the M2 cam, and he really likes that. He cams with 32-inch draw. And yeah, he's loving that bow. He's really enjoying it. The M2 cam, for me, I tried Corey Smandich. Corey's another pro staff shooter here in Alberta, and I tried his Dominator Duo with the M2 cam, and it reminded me of the old Spiral Pro from Hoyt. I shot for Hoyt for 14 years, and I was so used to that Spiral Pro. I loved that cam, but when John Dudley switched, I'm with Knock On, and when John told me that we were moving over to Hoyt, moving away from Hoyt, and then we were going to PSE, I was actually quite excited, because PSE is the first bow I ever had, so it was kind of like coming home, and I've enjoyed it ever since. Ever since I've shot for PSE, I feel like my scores have been really good. Like I've won 2 indoor Canadian championships. I finished 3rd in the Fresno Safari shoot, and I finished 2nd in Reading last year. So yeah, the PSE definitely works for me for sure. And I think it works for your son too, doesn't it?
It does, yes. So I am looking forward to getting my Shoot Down Pro. It's on order. I'm going to set it up for 3D. I'm hoping for it to be a good fun bow for 3D. And I think it'll be a little bit different than my Dominator Duo. I'm just excited to try it out. I'm getting the SE cam, so it's going to be a little smoother. Maybe not quite as aggressive as the M2 cam, but even at that, the M2 cam on the Dominator Duo, it's not, it does let you settle into the shot, which is really nice.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I liked it, and I like I say, I know that I could shoot that cam quite well, because I'm like an explosive shooter. I like to pull. On them, and I like I say, when I went to the first PSE bow, I shot the Evolve cam on my. I think my first one was the Prevail 3D, and I really liked that cam. It was nice. It was soft. It was fast. So yeah, I just kind of fell in love with that Evolve cam, and it's hard to kind of get away from that. But I after shooting the bows down in Vegas, I knew that I kind of wanted that S2 cam. It'll give me a little bit more speed. Although we do have a speed restriction in the ASA tour that we're holding in Alberta, quite comfortably, I can get 295 out of the Shoot Down Pro with a 375 grain arrow at 29 inches, 60 pounds. So I know it's going to be a great 3D bow for sure.
Well, that's pretty quick. And for 3D, you kind of want a little bit of speed, because you don't want to have a whole lot of arrow drop, or you don't want the arrow to be so slow that it gets held up by the wind too.
No, exactly. And I'm going to, like I say, I'll be at the Outdoor Canadian Nationals, and I'll be shooting unknown there. So that extra little bit of speed, definitely helps. But yeah, it's something that, like I say, this S2 cam, it's new for me, and it's something that I'm really enjoying. So I'm just gonna spend a little bit more time with it when I get back from Reading. Like I say, I'll try a couple of more setups, but I think I'm leaning more to the Eastern Super Drive 23 with 120 grains up front, and I think that'll be perfect for marked and unmarked. So yeah, I think that's the setup I'm going to run this year for sure.
All right, very good, gentlemen. I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Dean Thornton, joining us from Calgary. Aaron Bull, president of Archery Canada. Sounds like we have some exciting changes coming up for 3D archery in Canada, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
And now a message from Archery Canada. Please consider supporting the Canadian Archery Foundation. The foundation is the philanthropic arm of Archery Canada, which itself is a registered charitable amateur athletic association. The foundation's mandate is to support the advancement of archery in Canada with targeted support to non-Olympic disciplines of archery such as compound. It was founded in 2009 on the belief that every athlete should have the opportunity to be successful in their archery journeys. Its mission is to grow and develop the sport of archery in Canada. Donations are vital to helping the foundation fulfill its mission and paramount to helping athletes stay on target with their goals. High-level competition outside the Olympic pathway is expensive and is not funded by government, leaving athletes to fend for themselves financially. Please consider making a legacy gift, either in your will or insurance policy, and donations are also greatly appreciated. To find out more, please visit www.archerycanada.ca. All donations are eligible for tax receipts.